you're gonna be different, and it was always like instilled in me that like because of your difference and because of the fact that you're black, it means that if you go for the same job as this, like someone who is Caucasian or blah blah blah, that you're going to have to prove yourself 10 times.
I think it's beautiful. It's beautiful. The person I wanna be 100% of the time. Accurately snapping with passion.
I would probably say that my blackness affected me more when I was younger, and especially like moving to Australia. I couldn't completely appreciate the things that make me like different. And I think my aunt was very like, like she would always say that to me, like, stop trying to be like everyone else, Cynthia. Just be yourself, be yourself, be yourself. But I didn't really completely get that. And I think it was probably because when I was in primary school or like also high school that I didn't really know who I was. And then of course I'm like still figuring that out. Like I'm far from like, oh, I know who Cynthia is. But kind of through art and creativity, I was able to, you know, see myself in a different way, and the fact that I'm gonna walk into a room and like 99% of the times I'm gonna stick out, which is fine. Yeah, because so many brands do it now. For example, like when Rihanna put out her like Fenty Beauty, like of course there definitely were people beforehand who had a lot of shades for like people of all different colors, but literally since then that so many people have just like copied her. Like I'm not saying that Rihanna like, you know, started the whole trend, but she definitely, I guess, got people's attention to be like, this is like a problem. And that now, even when like Kim Kardashian put out her brand, that she's like, oh, it's all diversity, and everyone's like, oh, we're all about diversity and like we care about this, and it's like, but do you though, or do you just like want to make money? I guess growing up in Australia, I was always kind of, I don't know, like when I would read scripts and stuff, that it seemed very specific to like a stereotypical like Australian, and especially when it comes to like family and whatnot. But even though I didn't want to be like, oh damn, I'm probably not gonna get this because I'm black, and it's gonna be like hard if it's a like family role, then how am I gonna fit in that? But then I think I struggled in terms of being like, how am I going to be like a successful actor within Australia and not get like put into a box in terms of like only doing like specific roles which are related to my heritage, which is fine as well, like, you know, doing those sort of roles, but I want to be like versatile. And I still don't completely know exactly how that's going to work out, and that's probably why I've been a bit more like, oh, I think I want to move to the States. So I'd probably say one of the things that I've struggled the most with in the past is just speaking up when people say like, you know, things that are just really ignorant, or things that they may not really understand how it may come across. Like, and I think holding people accountable for what they say is like a really big thing. And I think something that really was like a moment in time that like was really like, Cynthia, you need to like speak up if someone says something really like, you know, messed up, was like, I was with friends at the time, and someone who I knew, who I was like kind of loose friends with, but she was talking about this person who I think she was somewhat seeing at the time, or I don't really know what the basis of their relationship was, and things didn't quite work out. And at the time, one of my other friends was kind of just talking to her about it and being like, hey, how did blah blah blah, you know, go? And then she was kind of just like, oh, like, you know, it didn't really like work out. And then she was like, oh yeah, but it doesn't matter because he was fully black. And I just remember that time, like, I was the only black person in that room, and I think that a lot of people like obviously heard it, and I think most people were probably like, oh, that's a really weird thing to say. And my friend, who, you know, was like Caucasian and blah blah blah, like, she was like, yeah, but like, why does that matter? But I just remember in that moment that I just thought of that comment so much and was like, I don't so much think she's a bad person at all, but it just showed, you know, some prejudice in her that she may not even know that she holds, or the way that she views people of colour. Or maybe it was just coming from a place of hurt. I don't know, it could be so many different things. But I think, you know, I always look back in that moment and just being like, damn, like, you should have just said something, being like, but why does that matter? Like, I'm fully black and we're friends. You know, unless I prove myself to someone, that they're probably just gonna see me only as my colour and not like who I am, until they're like, oh shit, Cynthia, I don't know, like, does this and that and knows this person and blah blah blah. Oh, actually, wait, yeah, you actually are cool, and, you know, and not just label me as like the black girl, which sometimes people have said, and I'm like, okay. It's like, yes, I love my heritage, and I love, you know, where I come from and my family and whatnot, but just because I'm black and just because you're white, that doesn't define who you are. And I'm more than my color. I'm a lot of different things. But just realizing that, you know, everyone has beauty in their own way, and I think for a long time I didn't view myself as beautiful, even though, like, you know, beauty and blah blah blah, that's so like, really just depends where you grow up, because, you know, what people in Liberia think is beautiful is so vastly different from what people in Australia or the Western world view as like beautiful. Hi, my name is Cynthia and I'm an Afro Australian.